Shalom, which means peace in Hebrew. I am priest and officer of 5,000 Abun, representing the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge in the nation of Canada. It has come to our attention that a Jewish organization known as B'nai Brith has been sending letters to city managers in Toronto, has been sending letters to the border services to impede the progress of the prophets of God. What we have gone through, what we have suffered here in this organization, the oppression we have suffered, is very, very similar to the oppression that the apostles, that the prophets of God have had to suffer since time immemorial. Without further ado, we're going to get into it. But first, this broadcast is sponsored by the like button. Smash it. This broadcast is also sponsored by the share button. Smash it. Copy the URL and share it to everyone that you know. The true prophets of God are back on the earth. And though B'nai Brith, with all of their millions and millions and millions of dollars, with their worldwide influence, try to stop us, try to impede our progress, it will not be done. It will not be done. It will be done in vain, B'nai Brith. Your money will be better suited helping your comrades in Ukraine or in Russia or wherever you are. Because in actuality, you are not the real Jew. We today, in this broadcast, excellent, loud and clear. Today, we are going to go into the letter that has been sent to the city manager of Toronto, the letters and calls that have been made to the Canadian Border Services concerning ourselves, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Some of those statements were true, many of them were false. We are going to explain to you also the real reason that they are trying to impede our progress. Because B'nai Brith, I'm saddened. I am a Jew. You claim to be a Jew. Where's the love? I thought you were an organization for the Jewish people, for the Jews. I follow the Torah. I don't eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. I adhere to the laws of Moses, as we do in here. Yet you tried to stop us from coming into this country, into Canada. We're going to explain to you why. First, I'm going to read the article. First of all, this article is featured on Israel National News. I just love it. What I love is that this organization, which is so small and so few in number, garners so much attention. I've been on NBC, okay? NBC Philadelphia. We've been on Vice TV. And now we're on Israel National News. Arutz Sheva. We're going to read from this article to brief you on the harrowing letter sent by B'nai Brith Canada. B'nai Brith Canada expressed deep concern over the weekend rally planned by an American extremist group that it says promotes hatred against Jews, white people, and LGBTQ. I'll explain to you what the rally was. First of all, it was not a goddamn rally. It is a street speaking. B'nai Brith, are you listening? Mossad, are you listening? Israelis, are you listening? Street speaking. Next time you send a letter, let's use the correct verbiage here, the correct terminology. Street speaking. Shlomo, okay? Street speaking. We weren't having a rally. That's not true. American extremist group. We are extreme. We are extreme. That is true. That is true. Because in this world, criminality, hatred for your own people, the possession, manufacturing, and distribution of drugs is pushed as if it is as lawful and Canadian as apple pie, as a fresh plate of poutine. Murder, sexual deviancy, adhering to your lust, not willing to wait and sacrifice your time, your energy, your life to something, that's pushed. That's loved. So anyone that speaks against that is extreme. I appreciate that title, extreme. We are extreme. You know why we're extreme? Because the slavery that the so-called West Indians had to suffer in the Caribbean islands was extreme. The detention of many so-called West Indians in Guantanamo South and other prisons that you have across Canada is extreme. The murder of hundreds of First Nations children was extreme. That was extreme. So, Benai Brith, my first question to you is, and to the newspapers that will receive this video after the letter that we are writing, we'll send to you with speed. Do you think the response to those acts should be extreme? The hundreds of First Nations women and girls that are missing, and not missing because, oh, they went to McDonald's, oh, oops, they tripped and fell into a Tim Hortons and grabbed a coffee, are missing because many of them have been abused in the worst way and have been killed and left by the side of the road. Is that extreme? If your answer is yes, then the response should be extreme. You see, you understand love and care when it comes to your own people. What the Nazis did to you, that was extreme. That was horrible. You received justice, and you should have received justice. Many of them were hung from gallows, and they should have been hung from gallows. You are hunting Nazis to this day, 90, 95, 89-year-old men. You're hunting them, and you're cuffing them where you find them and bringing them to justice, as you should. But the West Indians, the First Nations, the so-called American blacks in Halifax, they don't receive that same justice and have not received it, Benai Brith, for half a millennium. See, the Holocaust that occurred to you occurred for 4 years in recent times. We have been suffering the true Holocaust for half a millennium, including the so-called Latinos, who are our brothers, who are also the real Jews. So we are extreme. And I wanted to explain and delineate between their version of extreme and our version of extreme. We don't pick up guns and harm people. We don't distribute any drugs. We don't blow up planes. We don't fly planes into buildings. Arabs fly planes into buildings. Have certain Arab groups. Arabs can come and go in Canada and practice Islam. That's not what this article is about. This article is about a few men sacrificing, literally sacrificing their life. I've literally given up my time during, a critical time in my life to setting this up. And I'm not from Canada, nor am I so-called West Indian. But I love the people, the Israelites of Canada, the real Jews of Canada, West Indians, First Nations, Latinos. And because of that, we have gone up there under the direction of the one you call God, the Most High, and have sacrificed our last dollar to come and teach for these people to turn around and say that we are an extremist group and to try and stop us. That it says promotes hatred against Jews. How can we hate Jews if we're saying we're the Jews? This doesn't make any sense. This does not make any sense. They're going to say, they may say also in this article that they're anti-Semitic. Let me tell you something. Chasing so-called West Indians down and beating them, that's anti-Semitic. Chasing little black kids down and beating them to death in Brooklyn, that's anti-Semitic, Jewish community. Saying that I'm not a Jew and I'll never be a Jew, that's anti-Semitic. That's real anti-Semitism. The murder of so-called black people in the United States at the hands of police and white supremacists is anti-Semitism, real anti-Semitism, because you are harming the real Jews. So we don't hate Jews. That doesn't make any sense. Here's what we do, however. We explain to the world the pretty well-known fact. This isn't a theory anymore. It's just a fact. A pretty well-known fact that the Ashkenazis, the Hasids, most, if not all, the Sephardics, though they claim ancestry, they claim the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, most, if not all of them, do not have on their father's side the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or on their mother's side for that damn matter. That is the real argument here. That is the real issue. But let me continue to read in this article. According to Benai Brith, John Lightbourne, which is the slave name, the government name of the leader of our school, who is known as Commanding General Yahana. Okay. John Lightbourne of Philadelphia is scheduled to appear at various venues this weekend in Toronto. So I was in charge of making those Promotions. So we had a flyer made. I got the flyer shared. Everybody shared the flyer. The flyer was shared. I made a video about it. That whiteboard over there. Can't see it right now, but there's a whiteboard. Trust me. That whiteboard over there, promoting this event that we were going to have. So they got wind of it. Okay. Lightborn, quote, is a leader of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, ISUPK, and is usually accompanied by members of this group when he appears in public. Brith said in a statement. Also, he wanted to say, they say we hate white people. We don't hate white people. We don't hate anyone. The Lord hates the so-called Caucasian, who is Esau according to the Bible. And he is hated because of the content of his character, because of the crimes he's committed. Right now, they're committing mass murder over there in Ukraine for a few gallons of oil and some grain. Billionaires are shuffling and fighting. Meanwhile, everyday Ukrainians and Russians are being killed on the front lines. That's disgusting. That's barbarism. And the Lord sees that, and he hates them for it. He hates their spirit, the content of their character, so you can understand. And LGBTQ. We don't hate LGBTQ either. We don't hate anybody. We don't hate anyone. Personally. We're telling you that lifestyle is a sin against the Most High, which it is, which is in the Torah. Why, on an Israel national news, why are they even mentioning that, they hate LGBTQ members? There are many Jewish sects, Hasids, Ashkenazi, that read out of the Torah and break down Leviticus 20 and 13, disseminate it in their synagogues and say, this means that the LGBTQ lifestyle is wrong. So what are you talking about? Or are you really even against the LGBTQ community? Which is a pause. Let's have a pause for Brith. Okay? But on a serious note, this is something that the Jewish people know and teach is wrong. Many Christian groups teach that it's wrong. Many so-called black Christian groups teach that lifestyle is wrong, that community is wrong. So how is it that the fact that we teach the same thing, how is that controversial and how is that hatred? The Muslims, which come and go in Canada all the time, do not believe in the LGBTQ lifestyle. Again, this is insane, but let's continue to read. It's good commentary, and all press is good press. So please keep making these letters by all means. The ISUPK is part of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. We're not a part of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. We are the home of the truth, okay? We are not Black Hebrew Israelites in the sense that there is no such thing as a Black Israelite, okay? The Israelites are black unto the ground. That's in Jeremiah 14:2. The Jews, rather, are black unto the ground, which means different shades of brown. There's very, 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 very light, almost an off-white sand, and then you go near a volcano, there's basalt, which is very, very dark. And the so-called blacks, Latinos, and natives come in all shades. So to say we're a black movement is not really true. It's a slap in the face, as the prophets were slapped in the face in Acts 13:1 when they were called Niger, blacks. Okay? So this is something we've gone through before. That claims African Americans, Latinos, and Native Americans are actually Jewish. This is excellent. This is one of the first articles that I've read where they've gotten it right. I appreciate it. Israel National News, you're doing your job. That's good press, Israel National News. I'm not Donald Trump, but I would say you've got great ratings right now, okay? Because whoever this editor was, he or she took the time to get it right, to really put the zhuzh on it, you know? This is Israel National News, to really put the chutzpah on it, okay? They put the chutzpah in there, right? We claim that African Americans, so-called blacks, they were transported over to the side of the world through the transatlantic slave trade, yada, yada. Latinos, so-called Latinos, Latin Americans, and Native Americans are actually Jews, not Jewish. The ISUPK has never said that we're Jewish. So I partially take back my compliment to Israel National News as well as the editor of this article. Are Jewish, and that white people and Jews are satanic beings. Yes, that's true. We do claim that Edomites, which is the biblical name of so-called white people, as well as the Jews, are satanic, but God says that as well. There's going to be a second part video that I'm going to make after that where I'm going to pull the scriptures on many of the things that we say and many of the accusations that they're making to prove that they're false. Long story short, yes, they stand for what Satan stands for. the so-called Caucasians. You have made the LGBTQ community, you spread it across the earth like Coca-Cola. The Africans did it, different groups, Arabs, whatever, did it, Bacha boys, whatever. In New Zealand, you have to perform fellatio on the tribal leader. If you're a male, become a man and swallow a seed, whatever. So this is something that's common amongst the other nations. All right, it's not common amongst us. Why? Because of the Bible. It shouldn't be common, rather, right? That is satanic. And you yourselves, B'nai Brith, would agree that it is not in accordance with the law of Moses. Many other things that they push, drug dealing. The literal term money laundering came from Al Capone. You all are the original criminals here in America. We were slaves. You couldn't be criminals. There's no dope to be sold. We were picking cotton, picking sugar cane down in Jamaica, in the fur trading business as slaves up in Canada. You were abusing us and beating us up here as well. You're the original criminals. The term money laundering literally comes from Al Capone, like I just said. He would literally clean the money. That's satanic. And you push it amongst us and your own people. That's satanic. Jews say that Jesus Christ is a monkey. That's satanic. Nowhere in the Torah does it say that Christ is a monkey. That's satanic. Okay? And many of the so-called the Jewish people, many of them were involved in the slave trade. That's satanic. The transatlantic slave trade, many of you were a part of it. Okay? That's satanic. So yes, that's why we say that. The ISUPK is widely recognized as a hate group. Again, I don't know what the hell that means. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge in Canada does not take part in any drug dealing, any drug trafficking, any sex trafficking, prostitution, extortion, racketeering of any form. So how we're still a hate group, I have no idea. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and I'm going to appeal to your emotion here and really show how disgusting that lie is. We're a hate group. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge redeems the broken through the Most High, saves those through the teachings written, again, the Torah, the law, reading out of the law, to save a people that Canada does not give a second chance to heal the wounds of a broken, depressed, and abused woman who hides her depression on a strip pole with lines of coke and alcohol to boot. Our words have breathed, the words that we speak, which are the Most High's words, breathe life into the lifeless, gives hope to the hopeless, refreshes the fatherless, and reforms the criminal. Is this hate? Is this hateful? B'nai Brith, Israel National News. We fed the poor in America, and we are going to feed the poor as well in Canada. We have a food program. Many of our members have felonies, are just coming out of prison. We have a prison program. Many of the women in our school are single mothers whom, had it not been for the school, had it not been for the associates, for the love that they've received here, they may be somewhere selling their body for pennies on the dollar. But they're not. They're wrapped up, cleansed, and free from all the STDs, the STIs that are rampant. Is that hate? Is teaching a woman a lifestyle that will make her less susceptible to STIs hate? Is teaching a lifestyle that will keep men out of prison, is that hate? Is teaching a lifestyle that gives a man confidence in himself and an identity and a way and a standard of life in a place with no standard, in a lawless place like Canada, with children being found at the basement of residential schools, and all they have to say about it is, well, sorry. Oh, you're telling them they're good? You're telling them they're good? You're a hate group. Sounds like you're the hate group. B'nai Brith doesn't want us to come to Canada because they are white supremacists. This is a white supremacist organization. This is an organization that at one time was persecuted against by Henry Ford and them. Henry Ford wrote a book called The International Jew, where he speaks about B'nai Brith. You see, we're not dummies back here. You're not going to pull a fast one on us. You were the group that was targeted. You were the group that was discriminated against. Now that you have a little bit of footing, now you're going to discriminate, how dare you? How dare you for trying to come against an organization that seeks to reform the broken, that seeks to give whores a new life, that seeks to reform murderers and drug dealers and extortioners and thieves and liars and pork eaters and breakers of the Torah and the law of Moses. How dare you? Shame on you. A double shame to B'nai Brith Canada. And then you're going to try and stop us from coming into the country. What the hell is this? North Korea? Let me find that as well. I mean, this is from B'nai Brith Canada. This is their website. It's titled B'nai Brith Warns Toronto Authorities About Haters. They called us haters, everyone. Haters plans to rally in city this weekend. Let me see where they schedule. Oh, yeah, let me read on this article. Lightborn is scheduled to speak at a rally at Dundas Square. That is a street speaking that I was at. And let me comment on that as well. These articles are written around June 25th. We went down there around a few days from then, June 24th through the 25th. Literally the day they published it, we were there. That camp in Toronto was the wildest camp I've ever been to. Again, I'm not putting on a tinfoil hat, going Alex Jones, saying that they paid a few people to kick our steins and do other stuff to us that happened that day. But it's highly coincidental. I find it highly coincidental. Okay? B'nai Brith has previously alerted the Canada Border Services Agency. I knew it! I knew it. Well, listen, driving to Canada was always a mixed bag between, are they going to tip our car, flip our car over, take the wheels off like a NASCAR pit stop? Are they going to literally put us in an interrogation room and ask us, what are you doing here? We've got we've got $1 million worth of fentanyl on the wheel or something. Are they looking for drugs? I mean, the stories, I could run these stories off all day. We could have a whole lecture on the stories that I have stored in my brain from my travels to Canada, to do the things that I just mentioned, to heal the broken, to give refuge to the sick, to heal the sick, to teach the truth, to teach the Torah. We had to suffer these things. And they were calling them the entire damn time. Shameful, but it didn't work. The Toronto Police Service and the organizers of Toronto Pride about ISUPK's anticipated arrival. Additionally, B'nai Brith has informed the owners of a private building that is scheduled to host ISUPK about the group's beliefs. The ISUPK is part of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, which has been linked to murder and violence. That's why I delineated ourselves. Let me help B'nai Brith out again, because you don't study enough. The ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, is not associated or affiliated with any other Israelite group. We're not affiliated or associated with the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, whatever that is. Okay, but yes, the Black Hebrew Israelite movement has been linked to murder and violence in the not so distant past. That's correct. But not the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You're not going to find our members committing crime, selling dope, selling women, what have you. Said Michael Mostyn, Chief Executive Officer of B'nai Brith Canada. This is the damn CEO. Let's continue on. We anticipate that Toronto law enforcement agencies will heed our warnings and will act accordingly if violations of either the criminal code or the City of Toronto's anti-discrimination policies occur, should they be permitted to enter into Canada. Gotcha. So yeah, we were allowed to come into Canada. The camp went well, though it was, though the elements and forces of nature literally tried to stop it. It went successfully. Also, in regards to the criminal code, what have you, we're well trained. To anyone, who may be concerned or what have you that's not in the school, I, of course, don't give a damn. This is my life, and I'll risk and am willing to end it for this, okay, for these things that I teach. But to those of you that might be concerned, we keep all of the laws of the lands that we are in. So in Canada, I've briefed everyone on the Criminal Code of Canada. We don't break any rules. We're citing primary sources, and we are speaking the words of God of the Most High. And man can't come against that. And it's wise that Canada doesn't either. B'nai Brith also has contacted the City of Toronto Parks, Forestry, and Recreation regarding a scheduled rally by Lightborn and his group in a Toronto park this weekend. It was a damn barbecue. We cooked what do we cook? We cooked my man Zabaja, shout out Zabaja, my man Adiyar, shout out Adiyar, my man Shariwan, shout out Shariwan, Barak Yalla, shout out Barak Yalla, and the young man, can't remember his name, young man from the tribe of Benjamin, shout out to them for setting everything up. The sisters as well for chipping in and helping out with everything. We were grilling, my man Zabaji was grilling the steaks. He was grilling the chicken. Steaks was delicious, a little spicy. So-called West Indians, they like the spice, make it hot. Jerk is a little jerky, okay, but it was delicious. The steak, we had the chicken. We had the, you've been listening, B'nai Brith, take notes. We had the chicken, we had the pineapples, we had the watermelon, of course, B'nai Brith, right? And the watermelon, it was delicious, okay? B'nai Brith is a white supremacist organization, and they're trying to stop us from coming into Canada, not because we're Jews, because you would think they'd be for us. We're claiming we're Jews. But one, because we say that they are not the Jews, which is true. I'm going to prove that in the next video. And two, because we're black. It's pretty much all it is. This is everyday Karen, white supremacist, KKK, right? Racism. Because there were many doctors in Oklahoma and in the South that would tell black people, no, you shouldn't come to Canada. Your feet are too flat. Your nose is too bulbous and broad. You'll know your nose is going to freeze. See that? My nose is too bulbous and broad for Canada. My nose is too bulbous and broad for Canada. Your nose is going to freeze. This is the same thing that the KKK and racist Caucasian doctors did to black people in Oklahoma to stop them from coming to Edmonton. This is no different. This is history of Canada, the white supremacist history of Canada. Again, allegedly the so-called nicest country on earth, with Native American kids buried by the hundreds, by the truckloads underneath schools, and Jewish organizations running around trying to stop 5 black people from having a cookout, from cooking jerked meats. This is the evil and the hypocrisy of Canada. B'nai Brith is a white supremacist organization. They are against us because we are black, Hispanic, so-called Hispanic or Latino, and First Nation. That's why they are against us. And for whatever reason, they don't want us to wake up, but the Most High is going to allow this to happen. You're not going to stop what the Most High has already put in effect. In the next video, I'm going to pull the precepts and scriptures showing you and B'nai Brith, whoever is listening, that no, the Ashkenazi, the folks at B'nai Brith are not the real Jews, but we are. All right? Tune into the next video.